Today we are going to play with ChatGPT a little bit. A lot of people have a lot of misconceptions of, oh, you can't write with it, you can't do this with it. It's so easy to tell it's AI written. Yeah, that's true if you don't know what you're doing and you're not using the paid version. So I'm going to get it to build me a script for OBS so that we can make a camera switching system for my stream here, because I have two cameras. As you can see, I actually have four cameras in my office that I want to eventually have one over here, one over here, one down here at the desk, and then one over here on this angle, or maybe one above me. I don't know. But I got four cameras. And so right now we're going to try to build a script. I'm going to assume that OBS will use Python for this. So I'm going to first start by asking ChatGPT some questions. So let's ask it, I want to build a script for OBS, oops, that's IBS, OBS streaming software to switch between two cameras. I want them to actually, let's start over. Alright, let's see what it does. Let's see what it comes up with. OBS supports two scripting languages out of the box, Python and Lua. The scripting window is inside OBS Tools Scripts, where you can add, remove, and reload script files while OBS is running. In OBS's scripting API, Python scripts use the OBS Python module, and Lua scripts use OBS Luna. Okay. So yes, OBS can use Python, but it does not run normal standalone Python the same way a regular script does. Your Python file is loaded inside of OBS through the scripts window. On Windows and Mac OS, OBS docs say you need Python installed that matches the OBS architecture, and you set that path under the Python settings tab in the scripting dialog. OBS's knowledge base currently says supported Python versions are 3.6 through 3.12. Wing IDE can use write the code. It's just your editor, yeah, obviously. Anyone that wonders, Wing is a good one. VS Code if you're more into coding, which I have VS Code too, but for simple stuff I just use Wing because it's easy. The important distinction is this: Wing IDE, I know all that. OBS is where the script is loaded and executed. A practical thing to know: for many OBS automations, Lua is the path of least resistance because it is built in and tends to be simpler to get running. Python is great if you are more comfortable in Python, which I am, or want easier string handling and external logic, but OBS's own docs warn that scripts expose a lot of the API and can leak memory or crash OBS if written badly. That shouldn't be a problem, because what I want to do is rather simple. There are really three ways to extend OBS, and choosing the right one matters. OBS script using Python or Lua, yes. An OBS plugin written as a compiled native module, which is more powerful but more complex. External app controlling OBS through WebSocket, which is often the best option for bigger automation ideas or things that need to run outside of OBS, which mine does not. Okay, let me tell it my idea. So I have multiple cameras. I'm going to start with two. I'm going to start with two cameras, and I want to automate camera switching where one camera is active for, say, 3 minutes and then switches to another camera that is active for another set period of time. These times can differ to make more randomness. The switching should never be quicker than 2 minutes, as I want to avoid choppiness. How would you suggest we accomplish this? So to be clear, I am a college student. I've taken quite a bit of computer science. I've been building computers since I was 9, coding, programming, all that sort of thing. I can do multiple languages, but I do find using AI is much faster than actually writing out all the syntax. The thing that people usually get screwed up with coding and AI is not knowing any programming before you start doing this. If you know how your program, how it's supposed to function, and how the logic of the program is supposed to be built, when you prompt AI to do that and you tell it how you want it to build the program, it will do a very good job of doing it. For making more complex things, I suggest you deepen your knowledge, but for doing simple things like this, AI is just easier than having to write this shit out myself. So for your specific use case, I would not start with an OBS in-app Python script. I would do one of two things. Use the advanced scene switcher inside of OBS, or the best custom path used an external Python controller via OBS WebSocket. OBS does support internal Python Lua scripts and timer callbacks, but scene switching from script timers has a history of being touchy. Even community reports show people running into freezes and crashes when changing scenes inside of timer callbacks. OBS scripting docs do provide timers, but they do not make this kind of automation as clean and purpose-built controller approach. OBS officially supports remote control through OBS WebSocket, and one of the stated use cases is automating OBS within a third-party program. That makes your idea a very natural fit for an external Python app. If you want a no-code or low-code approach first, Advanced Scene Switcher is an actively maintained OBS plugin specifically for automation and macros. My recommendation, the fastest and the easiest, is to use Advanced Scene Switcher. If you want to get this working properly, you want timers, conditions, and macros. You may later expand into more automations without writing much code. But if you want a full custom behavior, we use Python outside OBS with an OBS WebSocket. If you want weighted randomness, you want different min-max durations per camera. You want rules like don't repeat the same camera twice. You may later add logic based on the mic activity, motion, stream status, time of day, or chat commands. Given the way you think and work, external Python via OBS WebSocket is probably the best long-term route. How I would structure it. Do not switch raw devices directly if you can avoid it. Instead, create scene 1, cam 1, or scene cam 1, scene cam 2. Each scene contains the relevant camera source, any framing, crop, and filter you want, shared mic and audio setup as needed. Your automation switches between scenes, not between source internals. It's cleaner and easier to debug and easier to scale to 3 or 4 cameras later. The switching logic I would use your rule set sounds like this: a minimum on-screen time of 120 seconds, yes. Preferred typical times, maybe 180 to 360 seconds, yes, that's correct. Duration should vary, yep. Don't switch too fast, yep. And ideally avoid obvious patterns. So I would implement a camera becomes active, script randomly chooses between duration within that camera's allowed range, wait that long, switch to a different camera, randomly choose the next duration, repeat forever while enabled. Okay. Extra logic I strongly recommend. These rules make it feel much more professional. Never repeat the same camera twice in a row. Okay. Add a small random buffer. All right. Only switch when streaming or recording. Okay, yeah. Add a manual override hotkey. Okay, there's nothing there I need. Hold current shot mode. Useful if a camera is clearly the better live angle for a moment. Best technical approach. Recommended stack. Wing ID to write the code. Python external script. Okay. So I think the advanced scene switcher would probably work. But because I want to do this in Python, I'm going to do this in Python. So let's see if there's anything in here. Okay. 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 Let's go with Python. Break down the exact sequence of steps to connect this Python script to OBS from outside OBS via WebSocket. Assume for the moment that I have my script already. Being very explicit with it. You got to make sure it knows what you're wanting it to do. I kind of want, so that thing is there. I kind of want this other mic closer to me, and I'm not sure how to get it there at the moment. Here's the exact sequence that we would use. Make sure your version already includes WebSocket. I would assume, since I just downloaded OBS about a week and a half ago, I'm probably on the latest version because I didn't know what this was a week and a half ago. Open OBS and enable the WebSocket server. Go to OBS Tools, WebSocket Server Settings. So OBS Tools, WebSocket Server Settings, enable WebSocket Server, yes. OBS's website project documents and service control tools menu and communicate. All right, so we've got that. as well just put it here because I'll have to change this now that everyone's seen it, but I'm just going to write that down. Why is this not? Okay. Okay, your external Python is not installed in OBS1. Simply opens a network connection to the OBS WebSocket server while OBS is running. The server must be active first or your script will fail to connect. There's a whole model of WebSocket. Okay, create a Python environment on your computer. On my Mac, I don't know that I have Python installed yet. Okay. 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 I got web server up and running. Okay. So, for those of you that might not have Python, you can go out and download it, install it, and do all this other crazy shit. But I'm gonna have ChatGPT send me a full terminal command that will do all of this for me in one shot. I have Homebrew already. Okay. Yes. See, like all this, who wants to remember all this? Like, seriously, I wouldn't. Why would you want to remember any of that? So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here. We're going to get our terminal. And we're going to paste that in there. And just let it go. And let it handle it. Now you ain't got to go search for all the right stuff. You don't have to make sure you got the right version for the right operating system and all that other crap. We're gonna let terminal handle it, and it's done, and poof, Bob's your uncle. Alright. Yes, I am in OBS automation. Yes. Yes. Okay, we know all that. Yep, we got that. Yes. Yes. Yes, we're there. We're all good. Pip list. Yes. So, let me give it some feedback here, right? ready. The only thing that says your pip is pretty old. That usually will not stop this project, but I would update it so the environment's clean. Okay, let's do terminal again. Okay, pip list. Okay, we're ready. Okay, so here's our test. So I'm going to test this. I'm going to bring it up over here on wing. New. Okay, let's get my password stuff up here. Should be in this document. Oh, I don't know if I got my password done here. Okay. So IP, port, password. Okay. Give me a minute to set this up. Off stream. Localhost. This one. Okay. Port is correct. Password here. V. Okay. We're going to save this as OBS test.py. There we go. There's our terminal command. All right, back to terminal. Here we go. Could not connect to OBS, so we got a problem here. Okay. bit slow. Well, I'm going to just expose the passwords. I'll change this later. So I need to use, this is what happens when you have an error. So that's not what I want, is it? No. I want here. Yeah, that's what I want. That's not what I wanted at all. That's what I wanted. That's not what I wanted it to do. Where's my X? Oh, it's over here. Okay. All right, let's try that. Okay, now let's go back to terminal. Okay, connected and disconnected, got it. All right. All right, let me run over to OBS real quick. You guys won't see this, so let me run over here and create a second scene. Okay. Okay, we're back there. Okay, so you got my mic again, and we're going to put a capture card device, or video capture device, I guess. Device 5, okay, and it's going to be, we'll make this one the video card, it'll be that one. And we're also going to add a screen capture. Hi OBS, and it's source for none of those. Okay. That one's going to be deleted. Remove. Yes. Get macOS audio capture. Yep, that's better. Desktop audio capture. Okay. All right. I want you to go smaller. Why won't you go smaller? There we go. Okay. That's where we want that. We're going to rename this one D850. We're going to name this one GoPro. Okay, so we got GoPro and that one, and then this camera can go off. Boop, gone. Okay, cool. So now we should also have Mac OS audio capture on this one. So now I should have two identical scenes set up. So see, this is the difference when you train ChatGPT to learn your behaviors and the way you code, the way you program, and the way you do things. I like having a bunch of notes, and since I've worked with it for like 3 years. It's pretty complete in its documentation and notation. Because when I'm writing programs, I am terrible about that. And I have the type of ADHD where if I write a program or get halfway through it or whatever, or get to like a stopping point, and I come back 2 weeks from now, I won't remember shit. So I make sure it notates very, very accurately. It's good professional practice as well. So this thing's going to automatically switch between two OBS scenes named GoPro and D850 using randomized hold times written by me and ChatGPT. Connects to OBS via WebSocket, confirms both scenes exist, reads the current active scene, alternates between the two of them, holds each scene for a random duration between min seconds and max seconds, it never switches faster than the defined minimum, and it runs until stopped with Control C. So OBS must be open, the WebSocket server must be enabled, and the scene names must correctly match that. Now, later on, once I get this working, I may change the logic to go in, read the scenes, figure out what the scenes names are, and then set those variables itself, and then switch between the two of them, so it kind of automates that further. But for testing right now, I've got a named set of scenes, and then we'll go from there. So it's importing system, it's importing time, it's importing random. From date time, it's importing date and time, and it's importing the OBS WS Python as OBS that we installed previously. So it's going to connect. I've got to put my password here again, so give me a second. Let me pull that back up. I could do it there, or I could do it here, and do it here. Which I don't really care, because at some point I need to just swap out this password anyway. So I'll put that in once we get it to the wing, to the IDE. Too much stuff going on here. Okay, So there's scene A, scene B, max and min. Check the interval time. So it tells you what it's doing here, its purpose, its parameters, and its returns. It returns a string. Print a timestamp status message, string, return nothing. So defines a bunch of defines a bunch of functions. So there's the switching scenes, get the current scene. See right in here, get current scene. This is where I can tell it to get the names, which it does, and then I can tell it to use that to set the scene name constants up top, which won't take a lot to do, but so we got this. We're gonna copy. Oh shit. Okay, well I'm gonna have to do it this way. I'm gonna copy it. Go to Wing, File, New. We're gonna do that. Then we're gonna go to Word, get our password. Go back to Wing. All the way back to the top. Come on. Password goes here. Okay, and this is going to go also in documents, and it's going to be called, what did it give me to call it? OBS Auto Switch. .py. We're going to put it in documents. Okay. And then we're going to run our terminal command, and we'll see what it's going to do. Terminal. There's our terminal command. Connecting, connected, WebSocket version available. There's my scenes. Current program scene at startup, GoPro. Starting automatic scene switching. Press Control C to stop. Holding the GoPro scene for 206 seconds. So, let's bring that up and we'll see what it do. And so it looks exactly like that. Let's bring terminal back up. Let's give it a response so it knows it did a good job. That means it's working exactly as intended. Did exactly what we wanted. So because the script checks once a second, the first status update may not hit exactly every 30-second mark perfectly, depending on when the loop starts. But the switching behavior itself is fine. You have a working foundation for automated camera switching, randomized hold duration, minimum anti-choppiness timing, and external Python control of OBS. That's already a legitimate little broadcast automation tool. What I would improve next, the most useful next upgrades, would be give each camera its own timing range. Okay, well we can do that next. That would favor your D850 a little longer if that's a prettier main shot. Add a startup option. You could choose start from a random scene, from current scene. Always start on the D850. You could do a bunch of different things. Only run it when streaming or recording, which we will do also. Add pause resume from keyboard input, which would be nice to do. Expand to 3 or more cameras later, which we're going to do also. My recommendation for your exact setup, given your 2 cameras, D850 is likely your hero shot, GoPro is likely your alternate wide angle, utility angle. So it gives me a selected bias, which is fine. I may or may not use that. So now I have some specific questions for it, because now that I've built this, I work for Frizzell Studios TV as the lead camera operator, and we do some live broadcasts for some local sporting events. And I'm wondering if I could use the software version here and just basically build myself a digital keypad with a GUI to where I can manually switch cameras. because one of the shows we do is a live broadcast, like an ESPN type of show, where there's, you know, four talking heads and they're debating local high school sports and all that good stuff. And we've been running on a fairly shoestring budget because we're a new production company, and we've not been able to switch cameras effectively. And so we're having to do like some overlay stuff, and I'm going to see if I can make it do what I want it to do, so that when we do our live broadcasts, I can manually switch cameras just at the touch of a keyboard. And I have a MIDI keyboard. I'm wondering if I could do it with a MIDI keyboard. Right? Oh, that's cool. It switched. It switched. That's awesome. Now I'm on my D850 camera. That's really cool. So it actually works. You can see my ugly toothless face. I don't have my teeth in. It's Saturday afternoon and I'm on spring break, so I don't give a shit. I don't have my teeth in. Sue me. Let's talk to ChatGPT some more and see if it'll solve this problem for me. So I work for a small production company where we produce documentaries and live broadcasts. The live broadcast is similar to a ESPN talking head type of show with on-screen graphics, 2 to 3 cameras. Oops, 2 to 3 cameras and 4 personalities. Could I program a MIDI keyboard to manually switch between cameras and swap out graphics packages? Okay, let's see what we get there. So I think MIDI would be, the MIDI keyboard, if I can make that work, will be the easiest way to do it. But if not, then I'll build a GUI and some buttons and make it work. Yes, absolutely. The cleanest way to do it is treat the MIDI keyboard as a manual control surface for OBS, with each key or pad mapped to a specific production action. OBS already supports scene and source workflows, studio mode, browser source, and remote control over WebSocket, so a MIDI-driven live switcher is a very realistic setup. For your kind of show, I would not think of it as a keyboard that plays notes. I would think of it as a custom broadcast switcher panel. Yes, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. 1 set of keys for camera cuts, 1 set for graphic states, 1 set for segment layouts, maybe a few keys for panic, reset, clean feed states. That approach fits a talking head panel discussion workflow very well. The best architecture is OBS handles the production, scenes, sources, graphics layers, studio mode, and preview program workflow. OBS's studio mode is specifically designed so you can prepare a scene in preview before taking it to live to program, which is cool. So while something is going, I can be putting something together in the preview or putting it together in OBS and then preview it, and then when it's ready, I can launch it live. Okay, that's really cool. A Python app listens to your MIDI keyboard. On macOS, your Python script can listen for MIDI events. When a pad, key, or button is pressed, the script sends OBS WebSocket commands. OBS WebSocket performs the actions. Cool. Back to a different camera. Let me adjust my camera size on this one because this is a pretty good camera, and we'll bring it up here. That's cool. Okay, very good. Very good. And hopefully my lighting's okay too. I got some new lights in today, and that's kind of what this stream is for. I'm interested in doing what I'm doing here because I need it, but I'm more interested in checking out my new lights. So that's one thing we're doing today. Man, I sure wish I had these for the last couple of years while I was in school. You can see some of my art up here behind me. My guitars, my first charcoal drawing I ever did in college, and then which way? That way? This way. Yeah, that way. To my guitar, more of my guitars. I've got a pretty decent studio here. I've been acquiring stuff since I started school 4 years ago. I've got really nice Epson printer and Hahnemühle rag paper for the artwork and a framing setup. I've got all my charcoal drawing stuff over in another corner that way. I got my streaming set up finally. I'm running multiple cameras. It's taken me a long time to get my equipment up and together, but I'm quite happy with it. I'm really impressed with this little GoPro's streaming capabilities. It's pretty good. I've used it for a long time doing, recorded YouTube videos, and I've sent GoPros to the bottom of the ocean before, but I've never tried to use them for streaming and webcam. It works pretty good. I'm quite impressed, actually. I'm going to get it on a little bit bigger tripod, I think, in the near future. But for right now, it's doing good. And then my Nikon D850 is functioning incredibly well as a webcam. So anyway, back to this thing over here. So the Python listens to MIDI keyboard. It's okay. WebSocket command, switch to the current program scene, set preview scene, show hide graphic sources, trigger different layouts or overlays. OBS WebSocket is built into modern OBS, and it exists specifically for remote control of OBS from external software. So yes, your MIDI keyboard can become a live production controller for all this stuff. Okay, now, before we do anything else, oh, I'm not typing here. Now, before we do anything else, I have a second idea. I could use Python or C++ to build a GUI, no, not a GUT, a GUI and program to run the WebSocket, and the GUI would be a custom button panel that would do the same thing, so that I don't to use a MIDI music keyboard, because the buttons would get confusing without a ton of tape labels. Let's try that. A custom GUI control panel is much more appropriate for a real production workflow than a MIDI keyboard. Once you move beyond experimentation, why the custom GUI is the stronger path. A MIDI keyboard is fine for proving the concept, but it has real limitation. Keys are not naturally labeled for broadcast actions. Functions change from show to show. It's easy to hit the wrong control under pressure. You wind up relying on memory or tape labels. There's usually poor visual feedback about current state. A custom GUI solves all of that. With a GUI, you can have clearly labeled buttons like host, guest, guest 2, wide, 2-shot, lower third host, lower third guest 1, topic, graphic, intro, break, clean feed. That is much closer to an actual control room panel. My recommendation, Python first, not C++. For this project, I would start with Python, not C++. Why? You already have Python working. You already have an OBS WebSocket working in Python. Python is much faster to prototype. GUI libraries are easy to get running quickly. Debugging is easier. Iteration is faster. C++ would only make sense if you eventually wanted a very polished, distributable desktop app. Deeper OS integration, max performance, long-term commercial-grade tool. But for small production company building an in-house switcher control surface, Python is the right first move. Okay. So now I bet you the right thing to do would be to go to Figma and design it. Hey, there's the switch again. Nice. So I bet you if I went to Figma and designed it and then made Python build it, that might be rather interesting. Because Figma will give me the CSS. So let me Sigma. If I designed it in Figma and had Figma I could also do it in Illustrator too, but so I think it's a little confused on what I want it to do. So if it gives you all this, much it. So yep, okay. That's what I thought. So I'm going to design it for a 1920 by 1080 control, or 1920 by 1080 whatchamacallit, window. So we don't need Hulu, but we're going to go to Figma. And we're going to create a new project. Camera switcher. Okay. So alright, so we're gonna need a frame. Let's see. There we go. 1920 by 1080. So let's get some variables going. If I remember how to make them. Oh yeah, so let's have a nice gray, light gray background so it's easy on the eyes. Okay. And then I should be able to name this, or okay. Alright, so we got the background. Now, let's go back over here to our scripting. So how many buttons will I need? How many buttons will I need? In Figma, I'm going to create 3 tiers of buttons with 2 variants. Okay. cool. Okay, so we got the on states. We got the off states, I should say. Where's my rename? There it is. Rename on states. Okay. All right, so we've got our off state buttons. So now we're going to have to label them. I want to take this and I want to not make them components yet. Detach all the instances. We're going to make each button a component. And then we also need to set the grid up for this one. So now these all need to be turned green. All right, so we got our on and off states. And so each one of these will be able to go to its corresponding location. Sorry, my dad's texting me. I gotta message him back here. Let me see if he wants to watch my live stream. Oh, Trevor Bauer uploaded a new thing. I'll have to watch that in a little bit. Let me find my stream. Send that to my dad. Live streamed. Let me see. To whoever chatted me, hi, how you doing? Where is my stream button to share? Stream. Hey, there's a third viewer. Dang it, here we go. Okay. Share. There we go. So I think my dad's going to join the stream in here, which is cool. So I'm going to put that there. So anyway, back to what we were doing. We've got our on states and our off states. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one. Ooh, why is that one? Okay. So I want off states, slide 16.9. This needs to just go off states. Okay, there we go. We're back in business here. So each one of these is going to become a component. I don't know if I really need to do that, but I'm going to. So we're going to start with rectangle numero uno. And we're going to take this and we're going to put some text here. And I'm going to use, just for my dad, I'm going to use IBM Plex Mono. And I'm going to go with 24. And I'm going to go with semi-bold. And so we're going to type on camera 1. Okay, we can obviously go bigger than that. So we're going to go up to 64. Okay, that's fine. center. Group the selection. Rename the selection. We're going to call it camera 1. And then we're going to link. We're going to make this, I need to make this a variant of camera 1. Color of the fill is going to have to be that color. We need to group that one. Group 1, call camera 1 on. I gotta remember how to make a variant. The volume should be up because I can hear it on my computer. Dad, let me see here. Let me see what I can do. Make sure your volume is up on your computer. Dad, if you can hear this, make sure your volume's up on your camera. I mean on your computer, and then otherwise, let me turn up my inputs on my mic. See if that helps. Does that help at all? It shows my audio is boosted pretty well here. Let me filter it and see what I can do. Oh, I can add some gain. How about now? Are we good? How about now? Dad, if you can hear this, make sure your volume's up on your camera. I mean on your computer, and then otherwise, let me turn up my inputs on my mic. See if that helps. Does that help at all? It shows my audio is boosted pretty well here. Let me filter it and see what I can do. Oh, I can add some gain. How about now? Are we good? How about now? On your camera, I mean on your computer, and then otherwise, let me turn up my inputs on my mic. See if that helps. Does that help at all? It shows my audio is boosted pretty well here. Let me filter it and see what I can do. My dad's struggling with seeing here, so, or hearing me, so trying to get my audio right. How about now? I've got quite a bit of noise now at this point because I got so much gain. I gotta turn the gain down, that's too much. if there's anybody else in here,
struggling with seeing here, so
if there's anyone else in here,
trying to get
type in the chat whether you can hear me or not.
I've got quite a bit of noise now at this point because I got so much gain. I gotta turn the gain down, that's too much.
That should be better, maybe.
If there's anybody else in here, seeing here, so if there's anyone else in here, type in the chat whether you can hear me or not.
All right. Maybe he'll get to hear me in a second. We'll see.
That should be better, maybe.
Okay, my audio sounds a lot better, at least on the phone. All right, so we're in camera on and off states here. So I don't want to set variable. I don't know, let's try it. See what it does. Okay, so it did not do what I wanted it to do yet.
Maybe you'll get to hear me in a second. We'll see. That should be better, maybe. Okay, my audio sounds a lot better, at least on the phone. Alright, so we're in camera on and off states here. So set variable. Alright, let's try it. See what it does.
All right, let's see here. Okay, so that does work. Okay. But all of a sudden I'm getting a bunch of static on my audio. And I don't know why. I gotta fix my audio here. Are we still? I don't know, it's pretty low. I definitely need that up higher. Filters. Hmm. Did I lose audio? Waiting for my stream on my phone to catch up so I can hear whether I lost audio. Okay, I think we're good. All right, so we got camera 1, camera 2. We could do the rest of these. I don't know if I need to do the rest of these, but let me do. Okay, that's kind of how I want it. So now when I stream what? Did I lose my stream? What the fuck is it doing? Is it low bandwidth? Okay, I have no idea if I'm still live or not. I guess let me check. Let me check on my phone. I definitely need that up higher. Okay, I have no idea if I'm still live or not. I don't know why my audio keeps doing weird stuff. All right, I don't know if anyone's still